Hello everyone, hope you guys are having a great day. It is April 1st, and today I'm back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about uh, this week, or actually next week, sorry. Next week is looking kind of interesting for severe weather. It's going to be in a different area than this week, though. I'm kind of watching maybe the Midwest and the Plains next week. I'm also watching this Dixie and areas of the Ohio Valley. But it looks like the Plains are going to start to get more active next week. We're also going to talk about the record-breaking cold blast for the East this weekend. So let's go and get started. Not really this weekend, but kind of it's actually occurring right now. There is some snow showers as far south as western North Carolina, of course, in the higher elevations, and some even in Kentucky, around kind of around the Lexington area. So pretty cool. But this is we don't really normally see this type of pattern in April. It's now April 1st. So it's pretty significant to see snow showers that far south. Uh, but yeah, so let's get started. So today we do have a marginal risk in areas of South Florida. Nothing significant, but of course it is a marginal risk, which means isolated severe weather can be expected. It's kind of how I think about a marginal risk. But Storm Prediction Center doesn't expect a 2%, or doesn't really expect any tornadoes. 5% wind threat and a 5% hail threat. So wind and hail are the main threats tonight. Not a lot of shear though. Now day 2 tomorrow, not much, and then day 3 not much once again. Now we go to our analogs, and this is the fourth. This is I think this might be Easter. Yeah, this should be Easter. This is Easter. Not really nothing. Analogs pick up nothing. But we go to day 5, which is this is the day after Easter. This is the 5th, and it starts to pick up something kind of in areas of the Midwest, maybe the northern plains also. This is pretty far north for this time of year also, but that area has a growing chance of severe weather. Because the jet stream right now is moving further to the north. And actually April is the peak severe weather season for the south. May is normally the peak in the plains, and a lot of people know that. And June is the peak in kind of areas that, well, I like this. June is normally the peak for areas of the northern plains and areas of the upper Midwest. At least that's how it's been for several years. That's kind of what I've noticed. This is day 6. This is when I think it's really going to start to get interesting. This is the April 6th, and I think April 6th is Tuesday. Let's see. Yeah, April 6th is Tuesday. I think April 6th is when it's going to start to get interesting, kind of in this area, right where the analogs painted. Now, I'm sure it's not going to happen exactly like this. Analogs change. For day 6 yesterday, or actually yesterday it was day 7. It was further to the west, so that's a difference. But we go to day 7, and we kind of have that pattern continuing. And day 8 it shows, wow, that's kind of interesting right there. Now don't get stressed out about this at all. But analogs are picking up maybe some significant stuff. But that's just analog. So like I said, those are going to likely change, especially because it's 8 days out. But that's what analogs are helpful for, is kind of 7 to 8 days out, pick up some patterns. So this is 18Z Tuesday, April 6th. We have our low centered in western Nebraska. We have warm, moist, windy conditions with winds out of the south, bringing up some warm, moist Gulf air. We don't have a whole lot of moisture. We have some snow even in the backside in areas of Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, and Utah, maybe even northeastern Nevada also. Pretty classic storm system when it enters the plains, forms quickly. And cold front, or maybe some kind of dry line setting up right there. Now, this is Tuesday, April 6th, so we're going to want to go back to our analogs here and go to April 6th. So April 6th is this day, so the analogs pick up something kind of right around maybe the Davenport, Iowa areas where it shows the peak. We're not going to really look at that. The GFS indicates maybe a cold front proceeding to the east with this low, kind of slowly weakening. And that kind of brings some severe weather, I'd say, if this happens, this area. But we kind of go back, we kind of look at some trends here. This is the 18Z run for today. We go back to the 12Z. Pretty consistent from the GFS, actually. Other than once we go back to around last night, that's when it changed a whole lot with the low further to the south. and a weaker low, but pretty consistent over the past couple of runs with the cold front kind of like this, with maybe some storm development along it and in front of it now. So this is the day I would like to watch for Tuesday, April 6th. Now, yeah, mind. So storm. What I'm talking about is, even though this would actually be Wednesday morning, this would be around 7 a.m. Wednesday morning. On the 7th, this is kind of still classified as. This is still classified really as Tuesday, because we go back to the SPC. Their outlooks, they go from 12Z to 12Z. So 12Z is 7. That's Central Time. So 7 a.m. And then, so technically, if it's 6 a.m., which will be 11Z, it's actually still Tuesday. So even though it's Wednesdays, it's kind of not really. It's kind of confusing, but pretty easy to understand once you have heard it a lot. But Wednesday looks to be maybe a very interesting day. We have our weakening low kind of spinning around itself in areas of kind of right around the Iowa, South Dakota, that area, and our cold front brings several rounds of storms, severe weather likely all the way down into Arkansas, and up maybe even into as far north as Wisconsin, maybe even Minnesota. So pretty significant. And then Thursday, we have a new low form that kind of spins around itself once again and around the other low, and that would bring maybe a chance of thunderstorms. So this doesn't look as good, but that would bring maybe a chance down into the southeast again. So that's kind of the pattern we have next week. Nothing extremely significant yet, but I am watching for kind of a pattern change or some severe weather potentially in the Midwest, the plains, and eventually maybe the South. This is far out, so we're not going to look at any exact areas, but that's where I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's going to be a little bit different than the past couple of weeks. So that's good. Now let's talk about our significant cold blast. Because this weekend, and it's really tomorrow morning, the east is going to have record cold temperatures. You can see we have widespread 20s, even some teens in the higher elevations of the interior northeast, or maybe even just the interior northeast. Below freezing temperatures making it all the way down to Jackson, Mississippi, Montgomery, Alabama, Macon, Georgia, Columbia, South Carolina, and into eastern North Carolina also. So that's a pretty cold pattern for the South. We even have mid-30s in the panhandle of Florida, which we don't normally see that for April 2nd. So this is some pretty significant cold air, and we can see daytime highs tomorrow. They're not going to be that warm. Keep in mind, they're going to be a few degrees warmer than this, than what the GFS is showing. Sometimes the GFS, well, also this is only 18Z, which that's around 2 to 3 p.m. So normally peak heating this time of year is around 4, maybe 5 p.m. So we're gonna get a few degrees higher than what this is showing. We can see highs likely below freezing for areas of the interior and northeast. Highs in the 40s, as far south as Kentucky, southern Virginia, and highs in the 50s as far south as South Georgia, South Alabama, and South Mississippi. So that's pretty significant for this time of year. For April 2nd, we don't normally see that. And then also in the plains, we're gonna have a lot of warmth ahead of this next storm system. We have temperatures in the 70s and 60s, making it as far north as eastern Montana. So that's kind of the pattern we have. We got a temperature anomalies, and this is tomorrow afternoon off the GFS here. We can see we have cold in the east and the south and the northeast, and warm in the west and into the northern plains. So pretty kind of an interesting pattern we have going on. And then that cold in the south kind of fades or moderates more each day, as we don't really, as the whole north is dominated by warm or pretty warm air, we can't really, no more intrusions can really get into the U.S. So that cold air kind of moderates. Now we can see our next storm system. This is Wednesday evening, April 7th. Just by looking at this, we have our low right there, cold front right here. Even some below average temperatures behind this low. In front of this, much above average temperatures. Looks like we might have a few different warm sectors. Main one looks to be right here. Now I would expect severe weather with this kind of in this area. Right here, just by looking at this temperature anomaly map, though, and seeing where we have our fronts. And yeah, so then it looks like maybe by next Saturday we could see some more below average temperatures in the south. But next week is going to be a pretty above average week for much of the central U.S. But yeah, that wraps up this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be back tomorrow, but yes, goodbye.